School of thought that indicates that this is part of a plan. It's part of a plan. Key phrase many people think, and what he said, what we just heard, is something that Robert Mueller, he calls him Mueller, something that Robert Mueller wrote down. So they have a sustained assault at nearly every level of this administration.
But of course, just for people that are watching this, he wasn't talking about Robert Mueller. He was talking about Donald Trump. And Donald Trump shaming himself in Helsinki.
He went to the message.
Donald Trump shaming himself, talking, not bringing up election interference with his own Department of Homeland Security person said it was a threat to American democracy, and he didn't bring it up with Vladimir Putin.
Well, we don't yet know what happened at Helsinki. We don't yet know. There was no note taker.
But the point is, on this call, he took a very good question from Chris Wallace, and by the way, he did the same thing on 2 other networks yesterday, and he pivoted and started talking about Mueller. The question had nothing to do with Mueller. The question had to do with Russian election interference, which has been well established, and which Pompeo or the president chose not to even ask Putin about.
There really aren't people that are so stupid, are there? That they watched that performance and believed anything he said? Like, nobody is that stupid, are they?
Yes.
No, I don't believe that. I do not believe there are any Americans that are so stupid that they would be watching that show, that they would be thrown off by that. That is something that when I was 5 years old, my brother when he was 8 and my sister when she was 11 would put things behind their back and say, pick a hand. I know that no adult was stupid enough to believe that.
But Mike and Steve are making a great point, which is this is misdirection, that any time it comes down to Russian involvement in the election, you pivot to Mueller and you hold up this Rorschach blot and you say, this is the Mueller report. Look at it and see what you want to see.
But hold on a second. So you pivot to a report, Steve, where 60% of Americans think Donald Trump was a liar? Where 60% of Americans say he's hiding something on Russian interference? 6 out of 10.
Yes, but Trump has always played to his base on this. You know that. I mean, when Trump talks about Mueller, he brings up Mueller all the time. If you had a report that 60% of the people thought you did something wrong, would you talk about it? No, you wouldn't talk about it. He talks about it all the time. Somehow he thinks that if he makes his 40% of the base happy, it turns into a re-election.
The cards they're playing are totally predictable in a sense when you look at the nature of this guy in the Oval Office. They're totally predictable. You know, you got the report, Bob Mueller. Get sick of Bob Mueller. And by the way, you're not getting sick enough of Bob Mueller? How about a carrier group to the Middle East?
Okay.
Send a carrier group to the Middle East.
But again, even the carrier group to the Middle East, they had already planned those exercises. And so then they go, oh, we're sending a carrier, saber rattling.
John Bolton.
And yet, it was planned a month before. So they're even.
I don't think John Bolton's statement was planned a month before.
No, what I'm saying is they're even lying to their base about that. They were planning this exercise a month ago.
For 2 years, this administration has counted on the reality that the base believes anything the president says. The president defines their reality, and I think that this is actually, in some cynical way.
You think the base is so stupid that they can't go on Google and see a month ago they were planning these exercises?
Is this a trick question?
No, I'm just curious.
I don't know if they're stupid, but they believe it. But the point is,
you can't believe it and not be stupid. Okay. So I don't think they believe it.
Oh, boy.
Well, I don't know.
Because I'm not going to sit here and say they're stupid.
But you know who's stupid? It's the president is stupid because he thinks 40% of the country can reelect him and 40% of the country cannot reelect him.
But 40% can insulate him against impeachment. Which I think is what this is really, what he's doing.
We'll pick this up again. We want to get some other news covered here. Russian authorities say that at least 41 people are dead after a plane made a fiery emergency landing at an airport in Moscow on Sunday. The airport says that the flight returned about a half an hour after takeoff. After the crew reported an